Good afternoon, everybody. February 28th, 3:46 p.m. Pacific. Great to be back live on YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about mastering the skill of digital marketing. I'm going to take you through my pathway, what I feel is a sensible pathway of approaching the skill, how to stack the skills properly. I'm going to give some of my insights, my hacks, some of the pitfalls I found, and some regrets. So just going to confirm we are live here. This is a live stream recording. I really prefer the live stream recording these days. Yeah, it looks like we're going here. Hope to see some live chatters in here soon. Shout out to anyone who came in early. Let's talk about mastering the skill of digital marketing. And I think what's interesting about digital marketing is how many people can get involved in this in some shape or form. And I think a lot of people get involved simply because they dabble in content creation, whether it's Instagram or YouTube, Facebook, TikTok now, LinkedIn, Snapchat, these social platform giants that are in sort of the top 20 websites in the world. People get a taste of digital marketing here because when you post, you have an analytics dashboard. And that's sort of where digital marketing begins, is how do we put things out in the world that will attract people back to us? And then how can we observe those analytics and make decisions that inform from that data so that we can improve week by week? Wow, lots of people jumping in. Great to see you here. Throw your questions in the chat as we go. I'll try to hit them before we go. I'm probably going to do 30 to 45 minutes of live streaming. Thanks so much for joining me today. So my suggestion is that content and social media is the gateway into digital marketing. For me, I was really interested in both videos and websites. And I was certainly someone who always was in the top 5 to 10% of people who would be the first one to make a piece of content on that platform. Posting YouTube videos in 2007, posting on Twitter, not much later than that. I've been on Twitter for 12 years. So I wasn't shy about content and platforms. And I'd already produced a lot of video content in my life, and I'd been familiar with WordPress. And I was building like little mini sites on GeoCities, AngelFire. But I believe content is the step one that really helps you get grounded in digital marketing. And it's the idea that you're going to put content out for somebody else, for their sort of entertainment or education. And what that's going to do is that's going to create a relationship between you and the consumer where they start to see you as someone who cares a lot about a subject they care about. And I think that, for me, content and then ultimately lead generation are really the first steps that you should be taking as a modern marketer. If you can get leads, you can do so much more. But if you can't get leads, you've got to sort of wonder what's going on here. Either there is a disconnect between what you think other people want, or there is some gap in your skill set in terms of the modern lead generation strategy. And modern lead generation is all about lead magnets. And so I think content and lead magnets is this big first phase one of the modern marketer. And if you do want to master it, you have to sort of start here. And you're going to get the tools that will help you do that, right? So whether that's a camera, whether that is a laptop to edit videos on, whether that's photo software, filters, templates, stock footage and photography, Canva, one of the more popular tools that we recommend, Canva Pro especially, getting all the images, getting the brand kit availability, making ebooks, which also can be done in Canva. Those PDFs can do so much for your business. And so I like people to start here. Prove to yourself that you can create a landing page, an ebook, or a PDF of some basic form. Show that to people and get them to give their email in exchange for that. That is step one. And if you can do that, you will be so amazed at what you can do next. Because the next part is not even as hard. Lead generation is sort of this barrier to the skill. No matter how good your content is, if it doesn't stimulate anyone to take a next step with your business, what is the value? And I'm certainly speaking from a business revenue generation perspective. This is not about hobbyists. This is not about even personal brand or personal story. This is about revenue generation and how do you progress as a marketer to being able to impact. And the great thing about content is you can go viral. The great thing about content is you can build an audience. These things can trump almost everything else. These things can make your business super powerful. When you have an audience, when you can potentially go viral with your content, you're unlocking something really big that no business has had prior to sort of the 2010s or so. So content and lead gen is what I would do now if I was going back. So what does that really mean? Like I said, being able to create a PDF of value, giving people information that they want. Could be your prices, could be a price list, could be an educational pamphlet, could be a guide, could be a checklist. In one of my courses, Full Stack Marketing Funnels, I love teaching like the 8 critical keys of every great lead magnet. Some of them are like make it easily digestible, make it about one thing, make it look really fancy and nice and look expensive, even if it's information. Those are just some of them. So you take that and it's like, well, what good is that? Well, when you send people there, that's when you can start to stimulate a transaction, initiating a transaction and sending people there. Well, that is difficult, right? Either you have to buy them, and we're going to get to that next phase. You can buy Facebook ads or Google ads, or you can create content and put it on social media, tag it, optimize it for keywords, make great thumbnails, make great native content. And people might see that. You tell them a message about your company, what their benefits are. Maybe they follow up, click the link, take the next step. This can bootstrap any business. If you can do this, you can take any business to the next level. Any business who isn't doing this is probably a small business. So these businesses can have exponential results from simply creating an email database, because it's so much easier to sell to an existing client than it is to create a new client. And that's why creating new clients starts with creating new leads. And that's why that's a great superpower, but also sort of the gateway in, right? If you can make content, but you can't figure out a way to sort of, stimulate them into a transaction, is that really that useful? You might be more in the art sense at this time. So that's phase 1 of how I believe, mastery begins. And for me, I was spending a lot of time with video, but I really took pride in figuring out how to make a decent looking PDF. And it's simple now. It's way easier now than it used to be. Canva plus templates, makes it so easy. The tools for content are pretty basic because these social giants want you to use their platforms. I mean, TikTok is a modern video editor. What do you have to say about that, right? Getting those processes down so that it doesn't take you a year to write one blog post. A good content creator can write one blog post in under three hours. A great post might take 8 hours or more, but a good post can be done under 3 hours. So that's where you begin. If you aren't doing anything yet, you need to start some of these accounts. You need a Twitter, you need an Instagram, you need a YouTube. You need a blog. These are the areas, any one of those. You can pick one, you can pick 2. Don't pick them all at once. Publish under a pseudonym. Like if you have to learn the craft through a pseudonym, so be it. Like don't let putting content out publicly scare you. If you can get over that, you can go a long way. The next phase is getting into scaling through paid media and optimizing your purchase rate or your conversion rate. It's one thing to get an email because it's kind of free, no one's really getting hurt. It's another thing to sell a $3,000 product, a $500 product, even a $50 product. It's another thing, okay? And if you're going to spend money as a digital marketer, you're getting into paid media buying, which is great. It's powerful. You can have customers in a second, but you have to know how to convert them. And this is the next level in psychology and will interest you into things like the reptilian brain and how are people truly convinced to make a purchase? What is it that really gets them going? What is the emotional experience? What is the psychology happening there, right? It's a fantastic and fascinating world to go dive into. And you don't start there. No. You cannot start in customer psychology and behavior when you've not even made one picture. You get into this next level when you're like, wait a second, what am I really trying to accomplish with this sales copy? And certainly copywriting is a big part of phase 2. You can make content with really basic text. You can just say your truth. You can blog. But when you want to sell, now you need to think about copywriting and emotion and psychology. Transformation, okay? Because if you haven't figured out how to sell, you're not going to be interested in running paid ads just to lose money. Now, maybe you run paid ads for lead gen. That's great. That's not too expensive. But running paid ads for conversion, you need to get results or else you're just going to stop. You're not even going to learn anything. So those two things go hand in hand, in my opinion. We call it conversion rate optimization, CRO, paid media. Do you notice how it comes after you start to get some basic traffic, which will give you some basic feedback, which will give you the ability to start optimizing? You aren't going to get there without those previous steps. All right? Content and lead gen phase 1. Paid media, CRO, conversion rate optimization phase 2. What is phase 3 of marketing mastery? So in phase 1, when you do content and lead gen, you're focusing on the first 3 steps of the customer journey. There's 8 steps in the customer journey. And when you do content and lead gen, it's the early ones. And the reason you start with that is because there's more people. If you start with just buyers, you have so few to start that you can't learn. You can learn so much just by putting out Instagram Reels right now or TikTok videos because you're guaranteed to get impressions. You'll know what works better. Do you see that? So the first 3 steps, awareness, engagement, subscription. Okay, these first 3 steps of the major core customer journey, they are important. The better you can do here, the better everything else is, okay? And then phase 2, you want to sell something. Now step 4, conversion. Step 5, onboarding. Step 6, ascension. And then you get step 7, step 8. Those are like leaving reviews and becoming an affiliate, becoming a partner. Those aren't as critical in this discussion, but you'll see phase 1 and phase 2 take you from stages 1 through 6 in the customer journey. So by phase 2, you can do everything. In fact, you can do 7 and 8 because they're actually easier than number 6 and number 4. 7 and 8 is about getting people to leave you a testimonial or a review and then getting people to promote you in their own blog or their own YouTube. That's the full customer journey. That's what I teach. That's why I think a lot of people become very successful out of my teachings, because a lot of people don't even let you know that full gamut of customer experience. They teach you Facebook ads only in a conversion-oriented mindset. They don't consider necessarily all the stages. And so you end up getting into these client situations where the client's starting to think about these things that you're not mentioning because they think about the whole business. They have to worry about customer service. They have to worry about the newspaper bench, or the I should say the bench ad or the newspaper ad, or they have to worry about the shipping of the product. You come in there and you're just like, yeah, we want to run Facebook conversion ads. And they're just like, okay, wait, where does this happen and how does this work? So phase 1, phase 2, you're mastering the ability to move people stage by stage. Guess what? You're all here. You're all in phase 2 right now. You're just engaging with me. But if I told you I'm selling you something for $10 right now, some of you might buy it, right? You'd be prepared to take that next stage with me because you're right here, right? So it's all about, can I do things that make people move down the stage, move people through the systematic growth of a customer from scratch? Can I do that? And if you can, you are getting really good at this job, right? Like maybe you don't know how to make a web page, or maybe you don't know every little skill. But if you understood the cause and effect of which activity leads to which marketing effect, I think you'll be quite successful. And that's why the final phase of mastering digital marketing is diagnostician, like Dr. House. You don't care what is the situation. You don't care what is the budget. You don't care who is the client. You can take all of your experience, which is happening in real time. You can listen to someone's problem, and you can give them the next step that they should take in their customer journey development. You need a Facebook ad. You need a funnel. You need a review generator. You need a lead magnet. That's what I do. I tell people, you need this. And when they do it, it works. And that's the ultimate skill level, is that when people tell you the problem, you know the solution, and you need experience, and you need to build those foundational skills. Because if you don't build the skills to fulfill the customer journey, you will end up selling incomplete customer journeys, right? Someone's like, hey, Rich, I want Facebook ads. No, you don't. You don't know what you want. You want success online. You're saying Facebook ads. You don't know what Facebook ads do. Are we talking awareness Facebook ads, video views? Are we talking about conversion rate generation, lead opt-ins? Are we talking about retargeting at the sale point? Do you see what I mean? When the customer or client says, I want Facebook ads, they don't even know what they want. They would say something like, we need to use some form of digital marketing to improve our conversions, to improve our awareness. The problem comes first, not the platform, right? Because if they're like, yeah, we do want ads, but we want to run ads to CEOs. Oh, well, have you heard of LinkedIn? Oh, no, I haven't. You can use ads on LinkedIn. Yes. Oh, well, maybe we want LinkedIn ads. That's right. You don't know what you want. Okay? So you can develop your career in a very interesting way. You could essentially you could pick your niche. You could say e-commerce. What do you think is the perfect customer journey for e-commerce? Write it out. What's the best awareness strategy? YouTube? Amazon PPC? Google Shop? Facebook Marketplace? What do you think? Put it in the box. What do you think is the best for engagement? Email? Social media? SMS? Write it in the box. Guess what? You just built a strategy for a niche based off what you think is the right way to go. That's your school of thought. That's powerful. So you want to be that Dr. House who's like, okay, I can look at the data, I can look at the problem, I can talk to a few people, I can interview someone, and then I've got to decide. I've got to finish my audit, finish my SWOT, and make my final recommendations. And this is when you get into consulting. So that's the 3 phase that I see very clearly, and a way for new marketers to sort of think about their career and feel comfortable in how they're leveling up. Now, let me give you some of the insights, some of the pitfalls, some of the things to be aware of as you go. I think you want to start by saying yes to everything. You want as many projects as possible. You want to learn on other people's money, OPM, other people's money. It's a very powerful tool and concept that if you can learn digital marketing, and what I mean is this, if you go start a blog and you can rank that blog, you are allowed to sell SEO and you're allowed to sell blogging. If you can go create a YouTube video and rank it, you're allowed to sell YouTube video marketing. If you can create a channel with all branded thumbnails and a beautiful banner, you can sell YouTube branding. Okay, so go do all the free things you can do and then just start telling people all this stuff you did. And they'll be like, yeah, I want that too. I'll take that. It's like, well, yeah, okay, cool. It's like, well, do you also do this? Kind of, but I'll give it a good shot for you. And that's how my career started, is like just helping people do more. I didn't care about how much I was paid because the value was very clear to me that learning on the job with real money and real projects is very valuable in our industry because each project is so unique. Experience really matters. Okay, so you start out by saying yes to as much so that you can learn as many customer journeys as possible. I've done so many different ones for so many different industries that you're like, oh, this works really well for fitness, but this one works really well for consulting, and this one works really well for lawyers. Like, you just kind of learn like what the customer journeys are, and then you can recommend them. And then maybe you have a niche specialty before you know it, where your price can be quite a lot higher because you quote unquote specialize in that niche. But let me tell you, as soon as you start crossing the $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month mark, depending on exactly what you do, you need to start saying no. So you switch from saying yes to saying no. And you actually need to say no to everything, because now you're making enough money where every day counts. There's only 30 days. So if you make $10K a month, you're making $300 a day. Do you really think like you did absolutely nothing for a lot of those days? I mean, it's not really realistic, right? Maybe you're checking your email campaigns. Maybe you're adjusting copy. Maybe you're working on ads. Maybe you're writing content, but you don't really take days off, okay? So you can't say yes anymore because you don't have the time, because your time became valuable because people wanted you to help them build their customer journey, okay? So say yes at the beginning. As you cross the 5, 7, 8, 10-ish mark, that's when you start saying no, and you have to just accept that. And you have to stop taking every single client, and you have to pick and choose. And if they're always saying yes to your offers, you're not charging enough. So you need some friction as you get bigger, okay? The biggest hack to date is I started teaching. Many of you know I teach now. I used to only do client work just a few years ago. Now I do half and half. And teaching actually helps me improve my work. I understand my work better. I can articulate my work better. So I recommend you even start a free class for your network. Just say, every Thursday at 6 p.m., I host a Zoom call where I'm going to teach you one little itty bitty digital marketing skill or whatever it is for you. And you're going to actually learn that skill faster because you're going to have to research, you're going to have to prepare, you're going to have to execute, and you're going to have to show up. So teaching is a huge hack in this game. Teach people this stuff and you'll get a lot better at it. And that's also when I thought about, oh, how do you productize a service? How do you make it so that your service comes in a box? How do you make it so that people unbox your service and they do all the work? And that's when I realized online courses are just consulting when you're not there. You're just teaching people something that you would teach them in person one-on-one, and you just design it so that people can unbox it themselves. That's a hack for time. That's a hack for income. And again, making you more conscious around the process that you give to others. It forces you to really refine your process, okay? The pitfalls are all around clients and choosing the wrong ones. You want to choose ones that pay well, of course, but you really have to choose ones that aren't clueless. You have to choose ones that like get it, you know, and that's hard sometimes because a lot of the new clients that we're more likely to take, they don't know a lot. So the pitfalls I found myself was not setting boundaries properly, not telling them that they can't say these kind of things. And I didn't know a lot about revisions before. Let me just tell you, it's very common that whatever creative work you do, copy or visual, 2 rounds of revisions, and that's it. Make your changes in 2 rounds and no more. And that's reasonable and acceptable. You know, 1 often isn't enough. 3 is a lot and you should start being paid extra. So, whenever you have a contract, you just say the standard revisions on the work is 2 rounds. Okay. I didn't even know that for years. And then I didn't add it in the contract. So then you can't bring it up later. They're like, oh, can you keep changing it? It's like, no, I can't. But at the beginning, that shit doesn't matter. At the beginning, doing the work is giving to you. You're blessed that you can touch real business work. In school, it's not real. Grades are not real. Grades have no correlation to the amount of money you're going to make. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that there's too many outliers to say that A+ equals high income. Okay, that's not how it works. Okay, so client pitfalls are the big problem. It's getting in the wrong clients. It's wasting time with clients. It's being screwed by clients. So just be choosy as soon as you can. In the beginning, I needed money really badly too. I did not say no. And I think that builds character. I think you should all take some shit for a while. Whenever I get new teammates, I give them a hard time in the beginning because I think you need that. If this business, you got to be a pro. You got to be legit. You can't be scared off by one little thing. You can't be turned off by people not liking your work. I mean, it's business process. And what you ultimately learn at the end of the game is like CEOs and decision makers, they're not going to get mad. They're not going to be upset if it doesn't look right, but they do want to improve. They do want to make progress. And if they're spending money with you, they hope to get what they asked for, I think my regrets are just like waiting too long to raise the price because I thought that they're supposed to say yes. I thought it would not be good if they walk away. And that's because I was under that belief that it's so hard to get clients. And I think it isn't easy. And so, yes, at the beginning, you can't really put the highest price. I think you got to negotiate a lot. But you have to always have it in the back of your mind, like where you're headed to. And I think Chris Do said it on Clubhouse this week, but he basically said, like, if people say yes to your price 3 times in a row, it's too low. So that's a good rule of thumb. And then my final regret, and as I tie up this little 30-minute serenade, it's just not making more content and documenting more. More! It's hard, but you got to do more. It's so valuable. Even if you don't put it out, I recently found some footage from 2013 that I'm going to be putting out soon. It's a little glimpse into the early part of my career and when I used to live in a 300 square foot apartment in Hong Kong. I got some great footage, and at the time, it was probably pretty embarrassing to record that video of such a small little apartment. Even though in my voice in the video, it's quite humbled and excited. But looking back, that content is worth, it might even be priceless. Do you understand why? We are the first generation that can document our entire life if we want. You're allowed to document your whole life on Twitch TV. They will store all the footage for you. And then if they can't, you can upload it to YouTube. You could turn yourself into a Truman Show. Now, I don't really recommend that. But hear me when I say that the footage I found from 9 years ago feels priceless to me today because it's the filling in of my backstory. Everything I have is only going to make my personal brand story more interesting, more dynamic. It will prove where I came from. It will prove that I started from nothing. You can see my desk. It's hilarious. This is valuable. And I didn't know until I saw it last week, until I found it. So found footage is wonderful. I used to have a name for it. Found footage. I can't remember. But don't be afraid to just document a bit now. And my video is just like me showing the room and explaining what it was. And don't be afraid to say, you know what? This isn't for me now. This is for the future me. I want to give the future me something. And I think one of the greatest gifts is to give them your content today and invest in building that today. And I think that sounds hard for some people, and I would hate for people to walk away feeling on a low because Rich said you got to make content. Listen, do you really want a life where you have nothing that you're kind of passionate and curious about? And I think what's cool about it is that you can be curious about your work. I'm curious about marketing. I'm curious about what makes people buy stuff with the click of a button. I'm curious about that. And that curiosity is very profitable. That curiosity keeps me motivated to do more, to learn more, to think more, to try again, to get better. So you gotta sort of maybe consider, how do I create content where I'm really comfortable with it? And let me figure that out. Before I go for my dream idea, before I go for my fantasy idea, before I go for that perfect idea that's like, you're probably gonna never do it, find a medium, a method where you feel no friction. And maybe the hint is to record it, but not edit it for a really long time until you feel inspired to like mash up some of your clips like that. I like doing that. I think it's fun. Like I had a good day, good 4 hours of downloading some royalty-free music, throwing it all into Premiere, looking at my old footage, recorded a basic voiceover. It's 3 or 4 minutes for now, this video. Just a pleasant experience to relive. And then my wife came in and she was watching some of it, and I'm sure she got a kick out of it. And of course my son, I want to start thinking about what he's going to see from me and how he's going to go through that journey. I don't know. And it's back to that point of that we are the first generation who will be documenting themselves at the detail we are. Gary Vee is probably the oldest person to really do that at that level. Of course, a few others have kind of copied him, like maybe a Grant Cardone or something. I don't know who's the oldest there, but he was the oldest leader. It's really more so for the 30-year-olds and the 20-year-olds to really be the first ones to really be inspired by this opportunity. And it's funny how it really comes back to that first step, right? Picking a platform, picking your tool of choice, beginning the path of receiving data from the world about what you put out. And be careful you're not in a echo chamber, because every type of content is out there. I encourage you to model content from a different niche, in a niche that you want to be in, and take ideas. Like nothing is that original, and that's not the point of content marketing. That's pure artistry. Content marketing is about gathering awareness and attention in a business context. That's what you want to do, and that doesn't need your face. That doesn't need fancy art. Okay, it matters more what is the offer, and are the people in that platform that you're trying to capture them that would be interested in that offer. Okay. So I think I'm summing up pretty much what I want to say on this topic of mastering the skill in a very systematic way, and understanding that you go from this sort of social, wide awareness, typical, environment into a more paid, focused, analytical, scientific environment, into diagnosing the complete realm of business and marketing. I'm going to have a quick peek at the chat. If you've got any questions for me, go ahead and put them in the chat now. I'll be happy to answer them. Feel free to ask me anything about digital marketing. And thanks so much for being here. Hope you liked this live stream so other people can see it. That would be so wonderful if you could do that. Great to see 21 of you in here. Jeff, Zarina, Chris, Georgia, Joven, DJ. Oh, what do we got here? Is it possible to get into digital marketing if you're not a very creative person? Yeah, it is. I'm not a very creative person. I don't consider myself creative. I don't worry about being creative. What I rely on is brand strategy, meaning who is this brand? What do they want? What do they stand for? What are they trying to do? Who is their target audience? And how can I come up with a model that would work for them? How do I give an image that will give the right vibe? How do I, and is that creativity, or is that sort of like knowing what luxury is and knowing what silly is and knowing what safety is and understanding sort of that? I mean, yes, creativity is not going to hurt, but the fact is we're all creative, and I encourage you to resist the notion that you're not creative, and I also encourage you to take upon the notion that I should just get started and shut the about it, because like we can come up with a million excuses like what we're not good at. Trust me, you're going to be not good at a bunch of stuff to get into this. That's not the point. The point is that you suffer through all that learning, that you never stop until you feel confident, and that you apply that in the real world, and that you forget about what's blocking you, and you persist, and your values and your understanding of life tells you digital marketing is probably going to lead me to one of the happiest lives I can live. Maybe I need to suffer a while before I get it. I almost got divorced. I had to downgrade some different things in my life. I suffered a lot in different ways, but I knew that the freedom, the remote capability, the future-proof nature, and the fact that I could possibly build a scalable agency off my skills, it overrides your decision to quit. Now, if you've got no skills whatsoever, you need to go to Skillshare or you need to take some boot camps. But I'll tell you, it's not the creativity to chase. It's the understanding of what kind of media leads to what kind of results. Ask more questions. Your next question can be so much more applicable to going forward instead of, can I go forward? You can. This is the lowest barrier, high income career, in my opinion. I went to law school and it cost me, $80,000 all in living and tuition, and I'm still paying that off today. That was a huge barrier and a mistake and a regret. In the end, it probably led me in a great direction, and that's fine. Okay, but you see what I'm kind of getting at? There are some high-income careers that have huge barriers, and this isn't one of them. So don't let that get in your way. How important is personal brand when you're starting out, or should you focus on getting the first few consulting clients? Well, if you're saying consulting, I assume you are quite a skilled person and you're pretty adept at a lot of the elements that we cover. You do want to start putting in that personal brand, and you just do it in parallel. You don't try and overdo it. You ask yourself, listen, I need to pay my bills. Let me do 70% client work and let me really convince myself those other 30% I dedicate it to whatever I can about personal brand and getting it going. I'm really wondering if you're having that issue. Most people really have the issue of just being worried about personal brand and what it means. And if you still have that friction, don't worry about it. Focus on your clients, get some money in the bank, get your process down, and that will make you feel empowered as a brand that I am worthy of people knowing me because I put the hard work in of figuring out this skill, mapping it out, and getting people results before I expected people to follow me. I had lots of clients before I ever said anything online. That's personal brand. You might be thinking of my business brand and like, who am I as a freelancer to get clients? And maybe I just need to be seen as a professional. So there's kind of two phases there. There's get your website and your social media online ASAP. I make sure everyone does that early on with me and they do not leave that blank. Then you can go back into sales, development, process, business, and then you can come back and really amp up the social and the media when you have the time and resources. Next question. Should I put my content on my progress in a web or can I put it in my LinkedIn too? Both. Wherever you think you're going to generate business, go ahead, try it, because why worry about it? When it's free, when it's open, like put as much out there as you can. Now, I don't try to necessarily put all my portfolio out there. I try to be now more of a thought leader, and I try to say interesting things that let people know that I'm experienced and expert. So there's a half there. I mean, I think you do want to put your content out, and you're saying your progress, so I guess your portfolio, but also put out your ideas and your beliefs and your values as well. Because I like to hire people not always based on their skill. I like to hire people because we have shared values, and you want to work remotely, and you don't want to have meetings, and you want to work asynchronously with Slack and Yak Chat. That really excites me, and I'm willing to train people if we have the same values. So it's important to put everything out, okay? What is the 3 biggest skills to focus on if you want to be a valuable digital marketer? Copywriting, and not being obsessed about it. Just month by month, try to write some copy and make it persuasive. I guarantee you get better every single time. People get hung up on it. So that's number 1, writing. Okay, so that's a communication medium. That's also a creative medium. It's very valuable. It's a well-rounded skill. You start with writing, no doubt about it. I would say learn how to repurpose content. How do you take someone else's content, if you want to be valuable, and make it into lots of small content? Okay, because people don't have a lot of time. And if you can get fast at that, and we're doing a course on this really shortly in the next few months called Content Maximizer, because I do think it's a really great entry-level skill where there's not like this ad budget to make you like, oh my God, I have to manage $10,000 of ad budget. Like, what if I screw it up? So I love content, whether that's basic editing or what I'm suggesting, taking their YouTube video or their main content or their main piece of content pillar, whatever it is, and chopping it up into small videos, quotes, Instagram posts, whatever it is that works for that business. I think that's really valuable. Understanding what's a good lead magnet is just going to be so profitable. People are going to be thanking you left and right if you can get leads on their books, whether that's emails or calls. Okay? Lead gen through lead magnets. Lead magnets can be PDFs. Lead magnets can be a little audio. Lead magnets can be a video course. A classic lead magnet is a webinar where someone learns something, and all they have to do is give their email. And a lot of people are willing to do this, and a percentage of those people are willing to buy something. And that's what you're trying to work them down to. How do I take strangers or targeted avatars? How do I turn them into leads, then prospects, then customers, and then long-term happy clients? All right, guys. What's my favorite copywriting book? Cashvertising, the classic. Got to go with Cashvertising. You learn the Life Force 8. What are the 8 things that all human beings will do anything for, really? Fascinating little short text. Not a groundbreaking recommendation, but one I do like. Listen, guys, I like to do this on my lives. I appreciate that you guys are here and giving me attention. But, I'm excited about what's coming up in the pipeline for Rich and Niche. And this is not an official announcement, but I'm so hyped up about what's coming. And I assume that if people follow me on YouTube and you like my YouTube content, that you like learning from me. And I appreciate that. And I just want to rant for a few minutes, if you would be so kind to listen to me, and sort of how I look at the business and whatnot. In 2018, I ran my first course. It was to like 8 people, 10 people, I can't remember. And it was a 12-week cohort. I didn't realize it was a cohort. I didn't know what a cohort was back then. I realize now that cohorts are learning experiences where a group of people start at the same time. And I thought that wasn't a very good idea, because it's like, why would you want to have to keep launching? Why would you want to have to like not sell automatically with like a funnel? And so I didn't go that direction. I ended up turning my cohort into self-paced courses, right? And so then I ended up creating full stack marketing funnels at the end of 2019, and I created a few other courses as well. And I've been talking about creating another course, which is really my final one of these series, what I envisioned, and that's, like I said earlier, Content Maximizer. I believe it's a great skill to have to be able to create content for businesses right now. I think so many of them are going to want this exact service. I think the price point of $1,000 a month is really a great starting point for content marketers who do this work. And you can go up much higher, especially if you do multiple platforms of distribution. And then the next logical upsell is advertising on your top content that you make. Hey, do you want to run some paid against this video clip that did really well last month? I can boost it for you, and I'll have to charge you an advertising fee, and you'll have to give me an ad budget as well. So, content maximizer. But here's the thing. I'm going back to the cohort model, and I'm really excited about it. Cohort would have been impossible for me 2 years ago. I had no email list. I had no audience. I had barely a YouTube channel. And now I feel confident that if I launch a cohort, enough people will join that it will work effectively. Because that's what you're worried about, right? Like, you don't know how many people will join. So it's like really hard to build up all the resources. And when I'm kind of a new business still, guys. Like, it's not like we've been around for that long. So, it's a big move to go back to cohort. You're going to still be able to buy all my courses self-paced online, do it yourself. But I will be investing a huge portion of my time to go back into teaching live, but not just random stuff. See, I do a lot of random teaching already, whether it's this YouTube video, whether it's on my collective call on Tuesday nights with my members. I do a lot of different stuff. What I want to do next, what excites me, is taking a group of people who will make relationships with each other. And not only that, they will walk away with a skill that they can sell right away. If you stick with me for 6 weeks and we work on a single area of focus, we can do a lot. And when you mix my live teaching experiences with my online courses, with our community, I think we finally have something really exciting and powerful at Rich and Niche that we didn't have until now. We had to go through these phases to put these pieces in place. I'm just one person, guys. Okay? I get people to help me on my bigger client projects because that money is pretty solid. That's contracted work. We need a team. But when it comes to my own business, I'm not going to lie. I want to own my own business. I want to make as much as I can. I want to do what I can. I want to automate what I can. But the truth is that cohorts are going to need more people, and so I have brought on a few people who are committed to helping me grow them, to deliver them. I need to take the next step and have a bigger team that can support and make sure people get great experiences. But I'm really a little bit disappointed in myself from 2020 because a lot of people took my courses and then I never really heard from them again. We didn't make a relationship. And I think that the network part of Rich and Niche, the community, it's very valuable. It's people have been hiring each other. People have been giving each other referrals. Like when you're in a digital marketing world, everyone gets it and they can help you find what you need. And, in our community, you get to denote what your specialization is, whether it's brand strategy, whether it's web design, whether it's paid media, SEO. And so people can find each other pretty quickly. And I think the next thing we're working on is a job board and a freelancer backlink board, just so we can promote our community a little bit more. But yeah, the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm going to launch the cohorts live pretty soon. I'm going to announce it officially. It's not an official announcement yet. I'm just previewing you guys, letting you know. Maybe you don't care, but maybe you care from watching my journey and where I got to in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. And maybe other people that are doing cohorts, whether it's like David Perel or Tiago Forte. Like these are my cohort idols. That's like, oh my God, I want to be a world famous teacher just like them. And I want to be the best digital marketing teacher. And I want my students to have great success. And I think people had the most success are the ones who took my course, but then got involved with the community and kept in touch with me and asked me more questions, whether it's here on YouTube, whether it's in the Yak pipeline we have, whether it's through an Instagram DM. I mean, I know if we can do it a little bit more intensive, the results will be that much better. Of course, the price has to go up, but the value goes way up as well. So really excited. The goal is to start the next cohort April 21st. It'll be a Content Maximizer cohort for 6 weeks. All those details will come out in March. There'll be an early bird price point as well. And there is going to be 6 cohorts a year for the next 3 to 5 years. I will run 3 types of cohorts: the Content Maximizer, the Full Stack Marketer, and the Digital Marketing Consultant. The 3 phases we spoke about earlier today. And each cohort will level you up. I think people should start with Content Maximizer. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to start again. 1, 2, 3, 6 cohorts a year. This will be the prime, or sort of the premier learning experience that we offer. So for me, that's really exciting because that's like a product launch. And to me, it's the biggest one we'll ever do so far. So hope some of you are interested in that. It's more practical, actionable. My goal is that you walk away with a mini portfolio. You'll be doing real life work projects in this cohort. There'll be homework. There'll be a consulting buddy system. We got a lot of good ideas planned. And I basically spent the last 6 months with my academy, which was this sort of hodgepodge of lessons. We did like 3 months of philosophy and then 3 months of, website design and personal brand building. I mean, I just wanted to give people more. And this was not when I was ready for cohorts. I wasn't ready in September to go for a cohort. My son was just born. There wasn't this mindset clarity, and I didn't have the supporting characters that I needed to do what I want to do. Now I do. My son's getting a little bit more stabilized with his schedule. And so everything I just learned in the academy, the live teaching, we did a lot of cool Miro collaborative exercises, things from the collective call, such as the meme nights, such as the collective consult. I was trying to consume experience with my community and my students to figure out how to teach them, because I'm new to teaching. I didn't train as a teacher. I have no idea. I'm learning all of these tools and platforms and trying to keep up with them all. So it's new to me too, teaching. And I think that it's been quite a journey, really, that started January 2020 for me, whether the first course launch, the live streaming, 60 days, the academy, the other courses, the growth in the YouTube channel, the start of the podcast, the book, Commander, getting into memes. It was a really wild 2020 where I was doing so many new things, and that was really taxing. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of settling down with this business and building a business. It wasn't a business last year. It's me giving you things, trading you things, selling you things. It's me. It cannot run without me. If I stop working, it will go to zero instantly. So it's not a business, and I aspire to be a business person. And so the goal is to turn these cohorts as the core revenue generation of the business, which will provide enough revenue for hiring people. And I hope that next year other people are teaching, not just me. I think I don't need to be the only teacher. I don't mind teaching the premium nights, but I would certainly love to have other people who step up and become leaders in our community, because the community is the most important thing. And maybe because I'm older than a lot of people, I'm 37, I've learned that lesson. You need support in an entrepreneurial world. You need people who have your back. You need people who want to help you find work. You need people who will keep an eye out for you. This can be a lone wolf journey, and you got to be careful that you don't go too far on your own, and that you don't try and do everything on your own, and that you think that there's no one out there for you. Okay, that's the big differentiator in our business, is that we try to create a community-driven learning experience. Let me go back to the chat. I haven't been looking at it. It looks pretty busy. Holy crap. Sorry, I can't. This is a lot here, guys. Is it a good strategy to work in PPC? Yes. PPC is fantastic because it gets results fast. I think it's good to be in PPC. And that's why it's so critical to learn with someone else's budget, because what are you going to do? Spend your own money on PPC? You don't have a product? No, you can't play without the money. So you really want to learn on OPM. Wasabi, you would love this program. You're going to be so surprised at how reasonably costed it is. Oh, I haven't even mentioned one of my exciting bonuses, and I should be careful because this isn't written in stone yet, but I will give people credit if they bought my course already so that you can join the cohort as well without paying the full price because you already bought the course. I just didn't have the cohort ready. I don't think you should have to pay twice. I think that's really sensible. I think I'm the most fair priced person online. I mean, for what I offer. And I think sometimes people think my work isn't as good because I price it so fairly, but one of my team members paid $5,000 for a really shitty digital marketing course and she dropped out. It was so bad. It's like, all my courses are very fair price and I do a fair amount of giveaways, sales. So, it's a tricky spot. Anyways, glad people are taking my free course. Good. The Notion series is brilliant. Commander. Yep. Command your life, command your work, command your time. Your major with mathematics. Great, man. Problem solving is me. I am a problem solving monster. I loved Mind Trap. I love solving problems. I love those games. I love those word puzzles. I love Sudoku. I love every kind of problem there is. You liking my memes, Brett? Thanks for sharing, my man. Do you think e-commerce, dropshipping, and digital marketing goes as well? Yeah, of course. Of course. They're made for each other. And that's why I think digital marketers have a lot more opportunity. What I will say is it can be difficult to drop ship in the long run because you don't love the product. If you can find something you love and do drop shipping, that's great. That's definitely great. Physical products, you got to be drop shipping. You got to be doing it, at the highest levels to get what you really want. So yeah, absolutely. I would consider keep going. Great, guys. Justin, good to see you, man. Oh, you were waiting for my cohort to drop? Buddy, it's going to be so fun. And I did a private, I don't think anyone's here, but I did a private cohort in the summer with 8 people and we just had such a good time. And, we really connected and some of those people are really deep in the business with me now, whether it's Zoe on social media, whether I'm working with Sana over on Clubhouse, got Daniel helping me with podcasting. I built the academy because I knew it would be very hard to scale an agency without doing the training my own way. And so, I hire people who take my courses. I give people work. I need freelancers. I need subcontractors. And so it just dawned on me. It's like, why am I just not training them way harder? Why do I just give the course? Like, I can train them. I will give them a hands-on exercise. I will give them homework. I will give the accountability to the skill. We'll just make it more official. And I just think that I wasn't ready. It was so daunting to think about launching a cohort and like, what if only 3 people join because they don't want to pay and they don't trust you or something? Like, I was so concerned about that in the earlier phase of last year that I said, you know what? Let me teach more. Let me keep practicing. Let me suck it up for one more year. And like, I won't go high ticket. I won't charge more. I'll charge less. I will give. I will, generate audience and karma. And I think I did okay. I think I did okay at that. I think that, I think that a lot of people told me I could have charged more, but waiting, patience, goodwill, giving, jabbing, That's right, Joven. Evolve from dropshipping to product development and brand building. That's exactly right. The reason you start with dropshipping is to cut off half of the jobs you need as a business owner. It's brilliant. All you got to do is market. Awesome. You can do that. PPC, social media, organic content, smart platforms, TikTok, LinkedIn. You can do that. And then once you do that, you're like, well, Why the fuck would I give all this margin away? Why would I can make the same product? Okay, good. Inspiration. Now you, like you said, you develop your own product, you invest your money, and then you're going to want to have a brand, because what you realize in drop shipping is anybody can copy you. So the defense is a brand. Okay, something people choose over other things because they feel a stronger affinity towards the company's beliefs, values, and methods of doing business, right? All right, guys, 59 minutes on the dot. I'm dropping out of here in 15 seconds. Say your goodbyes to those in the chat. Farewell, everyone. It was a beautiful day to see you. I'm so grateful I slipped in a 60-minute live stream here, and I think it was a good one. How to master digital marketing one step at a time. I wish you all well. Have a great weekend. Hit it hard tomorrow. Take action. You got this. See you again real soon. Don't forget